How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Shudder Magazine. This is number 4, and it is from June of 2022. For those of you guys who don't know, Shudder used to be the Creeps magazine, so if you're familiar with that, it's a continuation of that magazine. And this magazine, as well as its sister magazine, Vampiress Carmilla, are all about black and white, classically styled horror stories. It's an anthology comic, and almost every time you're going to get 6 stories, unless it's like an annual or something. And they're really cool. A lot of them feature the classic monsters, but with a little bit of a twist, and something, you wouldn't have thought, oh, Frankenstein or Dracula would do it like that exactly, but they mix it up just a little bit to keep it fresh and fun. And overall, these magazines have been remarkably consistent. They're always really, really fun, and I'm always glad to take a look at them. Sorry this one's a little late, been a little busy lately, but I'm glad to finally get around to reading it. Let's take a closer look at the cover. We get the Shudder logo in blue, and we get the scythe that this lady is holding with her big lizard right there. I noticed something recently on Carmilla. There's been a ton of lizards on the cover lately. But anyway, sorry about the censorship. That's not me. That's YouTube. YouTube will randomly flip out, and they enforce the rules really inconsistently. And I looked really hard. You can't really see much, but I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. I'd rather just make the videos, and I work hard on these. I don't want them to get deleted or anything. But anyway, this is the Valkyrie, which will be from our very first story. Let's open up the magazine and take a look at the back cover. The back cover is Auntie Fearsome's Fables, and this time she's talking about Egyptian mummies, taking the brains out through the nose, salting them to preserve them, the elaborate tombs, and the 1932 mummy film. After that, we move over to the table of contents. You can see the credits for this magazine there, and the stories listed with a little image from each story. Dear Aunt Shudder, that's the letters page. Valkyrie, the cover story. Rise and Dine, the famous Gilsum bequest. Exterminated, To Kill a Ghost, and A Fistful of Wolfbane. Actually, looking at these stories now, a lot of them are cowboy stories, huh? That's kind of weird. Maybe they should have picked a cowboy cover. I think 3 out of the 6 of these are actually cowboy stories. So, hey, if you're a big fan of Wild West horror, this would be a good issue for you. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the stories. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, though. A lot of these have twists, and I am definitely going to be avoiding those. But I do want to take a look at each story a little bit and make sure you guys know the gist of what each one's about. But no major spoilers, staying away from the twist. But before that, a quick look. Here's the letter page. And Shudder number 2 is the most consistent issue Warren has put out. Not a bad story to be found, and really nice art. And we get the werewolf attacking the witch lady from a previous issue. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, moving into the first story. Can't show too much of this one. Alright. The first story, Valkyrie. And we get this soldier that dies during a war, and a mysterious woman shows up and takes his soul. But he says, "Who are you? What's your story?" And we get to find out a little bit about the Valkyrie character, a whole bunch of Norse mythology, where she actually has like a body that was like built by gnomes, which is pretty cool. But he's like, "Are you alone? There's no one else in your life," and he starts to serve as a companion to this Valkyrie as she goes about her essentially Grim Reaper business. It's really cool to see an alternate version of the Grim Reaper, a little bit of Norse mythology, and Yeah, the idea of, you died and now you're going to be a companion to a supernatural being. It's a pretty cool and different story, and it's one of those they wrote to match a classic cover, and you can tell it's a pretty cool idea. Anyway, after that we get the story Rise and Dine, where we see a classic monster movie. A guy bursts in and is about to kill Dracula, where we zoom out and we see a guy watching this on his TV, and he's got a little Funko Pop there of Dracula, and you see this guy is a big vampire fan, and he's always like, ah man, if I were a vampire, I wouldn't let Van Helsing get to me. I would be the best vampire ever. But anyway, he wants to be a vampire, and he goes to this convention as his vampire persona. He's Waldo, so he's Count Waldo, but of course he can't find any real vampires. No one's taking him seriously, and these girls turn him down. But that's where he meets this seemingly normal guy, and the two start to become friends, and he has a suggestion that just might work and just might help him finally become the vampire he wants to be. I found it as a really interesting story, take on fandom and wanting the, extreme crazy things that you see in movies and TV, but they never, really happen in real life. Poor Waldo there, and he really gets desperate. And then after that, we get another classic story. This is something the Creeps did, and luckily Shudder kept up. This is from Ambrose Bryce, and is from almost 150 years ago. The famous Gleason bequest, and you see there's this guy, he's going to hang someone, but of course, how did we get here? And we find out that Gleason was sort of this guy that nobody in town trusted, and like gold would go missing from their sluice boxes, and they would always go, it's Gleason. And this one guy in town really hates him, and he pays one of his men to frame him for stealing a horse so that the town will kill him, and it's a case of mob justice there. But it turns out Gleason did have some money, and he comes up with a scheme there that says he'll leave the guy that accused him his inheritance if within 5 years no one can prove that he actually did steal any gold. So he spends the next 5 years clearing this guy's name because he wants his inheritance. But of course, a dark, stormy night is going to bring a twist to this tale. And that's your first of the cowboy stories. Yeah, classic, mob justice, with some karmic revenge in there. And I always say this, but I love seeing Shudder, adapt these really, really old horror stories. Like I said, this one was like 150 years old almost. That's crazy, and I do love to see old stories get adapted. I kind of wish that they would come out with a compilation book, a trade paperback of just all their old stories. That would be pretty fun. I would love to see that. But anyway, moving along to what has to be my favorite story from this bunch, and that is Exterminated. There's this exterminator, he goes to this old haunted house looking thing and knocks on the door, and it looks to be empty, but he opens up the door and you get a mysterious figure. If I can turn the page, you get a mysterious figure, this guy in a hat, and he's all hidden in shadows, and he says, I bought this house at auction. Can you clear out this wasp infestation? You just have to find the queen. And he's like, I don't know if that's how it works. And he goes, oh, trust me, I've been studying these things. Find the queen. And he has to go room to room spraying all the wasp. And of course he finds the dead body of the previous owner. And he's like, wow, the auction did not check this place really well. So he's going to have to figure out how to report that. but he, of course, is going to go deeper and deeper into the house, trying to kill all these wasps and find the queen. It's a really fun episode, and I really do love his gas mask there. But a really fun, you know, gotta go in, fight all these bugs, go deeper and deeper into a haunted house. Really, really cool, and a really cool character design. He's got this big, almost looks like a machine gun that he's carrying around to kill the wasp. Yeah, this one is just really cool, and I really did love it. Moving along to the second of the 3 cowboy stories. Like I said, cowboy heavy issue, but hey, you know, why not? And this one is To Kill a Ghost. So you get this Native American medicine man there, and this cowboy goes up to him and says, "Hey, I need your help. I need to kill a ghost." And we get a little bit of the backstory where this guy kills a Native American because he thinks he's about to kidnap this woman, but the spirit of this guy keeps showing up to spook him, and the medicine man says, "Well, it's impossible to kill a ghost, but maybe I can help you out." And he makes the guy drink something, and he has to go to the astral plane and confront the spirit of the man he killed, and of course more of the backstory will come out. This is a pretty cool idea. I wish it was a little longer so we could spend more time in the astral plane, find out a little bit more about the mystery. But for as quick as this story goes by, you do get a lot of cool things in there. And I do love the way these 2 characters wind up at the end and the sort of terms they have to come to. It was pretty interesting, but yeah, I could have definitely gone for a few more pages on that one. But these are all short stories, you know. But anyway, the last story, again, I can't believe we're at the end already, and another cowboy one, A Fistful of Wolfsbane. So we get these guys, and they're camping out when a werewolf attacks them. This is a werewolf in the Old West, and there's old Aunt Shudder with her cowboy hat on, and it kills one of the men, but after they shoot at it enough, it does go away, and they have to go back to their boss and tell him what happened. And of course, the boss is upset because a lot of his men are getting picked off, and now he knows it's a werewolf. So he says, "Get this guy in here," and this guy is a bounty hunter, Billy Cole, who you can see him pull the gun on the guy, and the crime boss and the bounty hunter have an uneasy relationship because the bounty hunter believes it was the crime boss that's responsible for his family's death, but when they say, "Hey, we'll give you $5,000 to kill this werewolf," well, they're going to reach an uneasy alliance so that he can, you know, hunt down a bigger monster than he's used to hunting down. And also, this story is told in, what is it, the second person, I believe, where it says, "You're sitting at the table and you do this and you think that, you know, and why should you now, Billy Cole?" You know, so that is kind of an interesting take there. But a very Clint Eastwood-esque character, A Fistful of Wolfsbane, obviously a reference to A Fistful of Dollars. So it is cool to see essentially Clint Eastwood hired to hunt a werewolf. So that story is pretty fun as well. So yeah, 3 cowboy stories. I wish we had gotten a cowboy cover. But yeah, cowboys with ghost and werewolves. It's some pretty cool stuff there. But anyway, Shudder number 4. Once again, an incredibly consistent magazine. This is the cowboy issue for some reason, but hey, cowboy stories are fun, so who cares? But yeah, lots of really good stories, and my favorite is definitely that Exterminator one. I thought that one was pretty cool, fighting your way through a haunted house against a ton of bugs. But lots of good stories in here, and none that I didn't like. They're all pretty fun. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching, and to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Creeps Vampiress Carmilla, and Shudder playlist. If you guys want to see me talk more about these magazines, you can click right there and see me talk about more. I've covered all the past Shudder, and I think I've covered all the past Vampiress Carmilla unless a new one's come out, which who knows, it might have. But anyway, if you want to see more, you can click there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.